What if the biggest surprise surrounding 50 Cent's Diddy documentary isn't the documentary itself, but what people believe could come next? A single social media interaction has sparked widespread speculation, with many fans convinced that Jay-Z could be the next major name pulled into the conversation. Whether those rumors hold any truth remains to be seen, but they've certainly reignited debate across the hip-hop world. It all started when 50 Cent liked a comment that simply asked, "My only question, he's next, isn't he?" The comment was referring to Jay-Z, and that one small action was enough to send social media into overdrive. Fans immediately began wondering if 50 was quietly hinting at another documentary, or simply fueling the conversation the way he often does. The speculation only intensified because of the history between Diddy and Jay-Z. Over the years, the two have shared a close professional relationship, leading many people to question whether those connections could eventually become part of a larger story. At the same time, others argue that making assumptions based on social media activity alone is a stretch. Meanwhile, 50 Cent has shown no signs of slowing down. After the release of his Netflix documentary, he proudly celebrated its success, pointing out that it reached the #1 spot in 36 countries while continuing to climb in several others. The documentary quickly became one of the platform's biggest talking points, drawing viewers in with its subject matter and keeping people talking long after it premiered. One of the biggest moments came when previously unseen footage connected to Diddy was revealed in the documentary. During an interview, the filmmakers were asked how they obtained the footage and whether Diddy knew it would be included. Their response suggested that he likely had no idea it would become public until the documentary aired. Diddy's legal team responded quickly, calling the documentary a shameful hit piece and claiming it relied on footage that had never been authorized for release. They also revealed that a cease and desist letter had been sent to Netflix, pushing back against the project's claims and presentation. As the legal and public debate continued, conversations around Jay-Z also began resurfacing. Some observers pointed to old appearances and public moments involving both artists, while others dismissed those discussions as nothing more than speculation fueled by the internet. At the same time, 50 Cent remained one of the few major figures openly discussing Diddy. When asked why he had been so vocal, he explained that he had been speaking on the issue long before it became mainstream. He also emphasized that he never attended the parties that have become central to so many conversations, suggesting that many people remained silent because they were personally involved in that world. When asked why he never spent time at those events, 50 gave a straightforward answer. He said that lifestyle simply wasn't for him. According to him, he has always considered himself more ordinary and preferred to stay away from situations that made him uncomfortable. He also explained that although he and Diddy had business disagreements over the years, his decision to keep his distance wasn't just about business. He recalled feeling uncomfortable with Diddy's behavior, describing interactions that never felt natural to him. One story in particular has continued to attract attention. 50 remembered attending Chris Lighty's wedding, where he says Diddy repeatedly tried to convince him to spend more time together, even offering to take him shopping. Looking back, 50 said the comment struck him as strange at the time, and in hindsight, he believes it fits into a pattern that many people are only now beginning to examine more closely. According to 50, many of the behaviors people are discussing today weren't necessarily hidden. Instead, he believes they were happening in plain sight, but most people overlooked them because they focused on the public image rather than what was taking place behind the scenes. When the documentary finally premiered, it didn't just attract viewers because of controversy. Many people came expecting entertainment, but instead found a project that approached the subject more like a detailed investigation. Its rapid rise across streaming platforms surprised even some of the biggest names in the industry, setting the stage for an even larger conversation that was only beginning. 50 Cent later made it clear that his issues with Diddy were never about an active street feud. He explained that he simply didn't like certain things Diddy did because they made him uncomfortable. According to him, if their relationship had truly been that serious, both of them would have been openly going after each other for years, and that wasn't the case. He also drew a distinction between Diddy and Jay-Z. With Jay-Z, he said the relationship was more about competition than personal conflict. Rather than treating it like a feud, he viewed it as two successful figures operating in the same space and naturally competing with one another. Even so, the conversation around Jay-Z kept growing. Some people argued that it would be unethical for someone who has faced accusations himself to publicly push attention toward others facing allegations. That criticism didn't appear to slow 50 down. He continued promoting the documentary's success online and kept posting content that fueled speculation. One post became especially important. 50 shared an edited image based on a drawing of Jay-Z and jokingly wrote, "Please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not going to post it." The joke, of course, was that he had already posted it. Fans immediately focused on the image, but many paid even closer attention to the comments he liked underneath the post. That was the moment many viewers felt the story shifted from simple trolling to something potentially bigger. People began wondering whether 50 was hinting at a second season of the documentary or laying the groundwork for an entirely separate project involving Jay-Z. The rumors spread quickly. Online discussions started connecting Jay-Z to a possible continuation of the series, while others suggested that several powerful figures from the music industry could eventually find themselves pulled into the spotlight if another season ever happened. None of it was confirmed, but the speculation kept getting louder. As those rumors grew, Marlon Wayans unexpectedly became part of the conversation. During an interview, he was asked about 50 Cent's documentary and offered a cautious opinion. Marlon said he hadn't even watched the series, but he questioned whether public battles between black celebrities were good for the culture. He joked that his own family told him he had picked a fight with the wrong person and should stick to beefing with people he could actually beat. After his comments started circulating online, Marlon felt the need to clarify his position. He insisted that he was not defending Diddy and that he had simply answered a question with his honest opinion. He warned people not to let social media narratives twist his words and encouraged viewers to watch the full interview instead of reacting to short clips. Those remarks quickly became another chapter in the ongoing tension surrounding the documentary. 50 responded with memes and social media posts, turning Marlon's interview into a fresh talking point for fans who were already following every development. At the same time, 50 continued explaining why his relationship with Diddy had always been complicated. He claimed Diddy would sometimes do things behind the scenes that felt disrespectful, especially involving people they had both done business with. In his view, the problem wasn't a single incident, but a pattern of behavior that had bothered him for years. When critics accused him of being petty, 50 didn't deny it. He openly admitted that he enjoys using social media to entertain people and stir conversation. To him, those online antics are simply part of how he engages with the public. He also addressed the criticism that the documentary was a hit piece. According to 50, many people formed that opinion before actually watching it. Once viewers saw the series for themselves, he argued, the reaction changed and the documentary's popularity spoke for itself. Another question kept coming up. Why were so many major celebrities staying quiet? Interviewers pointed out that during other high-profile scandals, famous people were often quick to speak publicly. But in this situation, many of Diddy's peers remained silent. 50's answer was blunt. He said hip-hop has a strong, mind your business, culture, and he believes many people avoid speaking because they don't want to be seen as exposing others. In his view, if he hadn't been willing to say what he thought publicly, there might have been almost no conversation at all from within the industry itself. By that point, the story had become much bigger than one documentary. Every interview, every Instagram post, and every public reaction seemed to add another layer to the debate. What started as a streaming release had turned into a constantly evolving conversation that now involved Diddy, Jay-Z, Marlon Wayans, and an entire audience trying to figure out what 50 Cent might do next. As Marlon Wayans' comments continued making the rounds online, the discussion expanded beyond his opinion and shifted toward the broader issue of how quickly public narratives can take on a life of their own. Some people agreed with his call for caution, while others believed he had unfairly criticized 50 Cent's project without fully understanding it. Another voice soon entered the conversation, criticizing what he described as AI-generated images and edited content spreading across social media. He argued that fabricated pictures were being used to create false narratives, claiming he had even seen fake images showing him alongside Diddy that he insisted had never existed. In his view, allowing manipulated content to circulate without consequences only made it harder for people to separate fact from fiction. He also questioned why people creating and sharing AI-generated images couldn't be held accountable, saying that digitally altering photos to damage someone's reputation crossed a line. According to him, trolling is one thing, but intentionally spreading fabricated material is something entirely different. As these side debates unfolded, the spotlight remained firmly on 50 Cent and the success of his documentary. Many online observers argued that, regardless of where people stood on the controversy, he had managed to turn the entire situation into one of the biggest moments of his career. Some even viewed it as a personal victory in his long-running rivalry with Diddy. That perception only grew stronger after the documentary debuted on Netflix. After years of talking about the project, 50 finally brought it to audiences, and the response exceeded many expectations. The series quickly climbed the streaming charts and became one of the platform's most discussed releases. Then came another major milestone. The documentary received 3 Emmy nominations, including Outstanding Documentary or Nonfiction Series, Outstanding Directing, and Outstanding Picture Editing. Celebrating the achievement, 50 posted online, "Everybody had something to say when I announced it. Now the Emmys got something to say too." The recognition surprised even some of the people involved with the production. One of the documentary's creators admitted they hadn't expected the project to generate such an enormous response. They explained that the original conversations with 50 began shortly after Cassie filed her lawsuit, when serious allegations against Diddy first became public. According to the filmmakers, they recognized that rumors had circulated throughout the music industry for years, but Cassie's lawsuit introduced a level of detail that demanded closer examination. Rather than focusing only on sensational headlines, they wanted to explore the complexities of the story, including the difficult questions surrounding victims, perpetrators, and recurring patterns of abuse. They emphasized that their goal was to provide context instead of simply chasing shocking moments. In their view, much of the public conversation had been driven by headlines without enough attention given to the deeper issues involved. That approach became one of the defining ideas behind the documentary. For 50 Cent, the Emmy nominations represented another significant step in his career beyond music. Already recognized for successful television projects like Power, he now had major industry recognition for documentary filmmaking as well. Many fans viewed the nominations as proof that he had established himself as a serious producer, not just a rapper expanding into television. Online reactions reflected that sentiment. Supporters described the documentary's success as another major win for 50, particularly because it remained one of the most talked about projects connected to Diddy. Others reminded people that those reactions were personal opinions, and only Diddy himself knows how he truly feels about the attention surrounding the series. Even so, 50 showed no intention of letting the conversation fade. He continued posting memes, jokes, and commentary on social media, ensuring that both the documentary and his long-running rivalry with Diddy stayed in the headlines. As supporters on both sides continued debating what might happen next, another familiar name began appearing more and more often in online discussions. If there was one person many fans expected could eventually become part of the story, it was Jay-Z. Over the years, 50 Cent and Jay-Z have shared the same industry, crossing paths through business, competition, and occasional moments of mutual respect. While neither has publicly confirmed any new project together or against one another, speculation intensified after the documentary's success. Rumors accelerated when 50 shared an Instagram post featuring Jay-Z. Although the post itself didn't announce anything, many followers interpreted it as a deliberate hint. Almost immediately, social media filled with predictions that Jay-Z. Rather than dismissing the speculation, 50's social media activity seemed to add even more fuel to it. By liking comments that suggested Jay-Z could be next, he left fans wondering whether he was simply having fun online or quietly hinting at something bigger. That uncertainty only pushed the conversation further, with people analyzing every post for possible clues. Part of the reason the rumors spread so quickly is because of Jay-Z's long history in the music industry. As one of hip-hop's most influential figures, any suggestion that his name could become part of a future documentary naturally draws enormous attention. His professional relationship with Diddy over the years has only added to the curiosity, leading many online to question whether those connections might eventually be explored. Even so, it's important to remember that no official announcement has confirmed Jay-Z's involvement in any future project. While those discussions continued, another familiar rivalry returned to the spotlight. Rick Ross has been one of 50 Cent's biggest rivals for well over a decade, and their feud remains one of the most recognizable in hip-hop. What began as competition in music eventually evolved into years of diss tracks, interviews, social media exchanges, and public insults that kept fans invested. More recently, 50 reignited that rivalry by poking fun at Rick Ross on social media. During one video, he joked about flying commercial while his private jet was being upgraded with Starlink internet, adding that at least he wasn't hiding in an airport like Rick Ross. He followed the joke with more familiar criticism, bringing up Ross' past employment as a correctional officer before his rap career and questioning the street image presented in his music. The jokes didn't stop there. 50 continued making lighthearted digs about Ross' lifestyle, turning everyday situations into opportunities for another punchline. It was classic 50 Cent, mixing humor, trolling, and long-standing rivalry in a way that immediately got people talking again. For many fans, these exchanges were a reminder of why the feud has lasted so long. Even during periods when neither artist was actively responding, the tension never seemed to disappear completely. It simply stayed in the background until another interview or social media post brought it back into public view. As rumors about a possible second season of the documentary continued spreading, some viewers began wondering whether Rick Ross could eventually become part of the story as well. There has been no official confirmation suggesting that he will be featured, but given the history between the two artists, plenty of fans believe it's a possibility if another season explores major rivalries and relationships within hip-hop. If a future project takes a broader look at industry conflicts and long-standing personal disputes, Rick Ross could naturally become one of the names discussed. After all, his history with 50 Cent stretches across music, business, and social media, making it one of the most recognizable feuds of the modern rap era. Whether that actually happens remains unknown. The biggest question now is whether any of these rumors will actually lead somewhere. If a second season is ever announced, 50 Cent could revisit a familiar rivalry like Rick Ross, shift the focus towards someone as influential as Jay-Z, or take the story in a direction that no one is expecting. Right now, though, nobody knows what, if anything, is being planned behind the scenes. That uncertainty is exactly what's fueling the speculation. Fans continue analyzing interviews, social media posts, and public appearances, trying to connect pieces of a puzzle that may not even exist. Every time 50 shares another post, the theories begin all over again, with thousands of people debating whether it's a genuine hint or simply another example of his trademark trolling. As of now, there has been no official confirmation that Shawn Combs The Reckoning will receive a second season. Even so, the documentary's success has kept the conversation alive. After earning 3 Emmy nominations, many viewers started wondering whether 50 already has another major documentary project in development. The attention surrounding the series has only grown stronger over time. Some fans believe 50 is intentionally dropping subtle clues across social media, while others think people are reading far too much into ordinary posts. Until an official announcement is made, every theory remains exactly that, a theory. One thing that isn't up for debate is the documentary's impact. It has become one of the most talked about projects connected to Diddy, and its success has further established 50 Cent as a serious force in television and documentary production. What began as another entertainment project quickly evolved into one of the biggest conversations in hip-hop media. At the same time, 50's long-running feud with Rick Ross continues to capture attention whenever either artist speaks publicly. Their rivalry has stretched across music, business, interviews, and social media for years, becoming one of the defining conflicts in modern rap. One of the moments fans still remember most is when 50 repeatedly referred to Ross as Officer Ricky, drawing attention to Ross' past work as a correctional officer before launching his music career. That nickname became a lasting part of their rivalry, with 50 continuing to reference it through jokes, old photographs, and social media posts whenever the opportunity presented itself. Even today, whenever either artist comments publicly, fans immediately begin wondering whether another round of back-and-forth exchanges is about to begin. Their history has become so deeply rooted in hip-hop culture that even casual remarks can quickly reignite debate across the internet. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's name continues surfacing in discussions about a possible follow-up documentary. Although no official information has connected him to any future project, His decades-long presence in the music industry and his relationships with many of hip-hop's biggest figures have naturally made him part of the conversation. Some believe a documentary centered around Jay-Z would attract enormous interest because of his influence and history within the industry. Others feel it would make more sense for 50 to continue exploring familiar rivalries like the one he shares with Rick Ross. For now, however, those opinions belong entirely to fans, and there is no confirmation that either direction is actually being considered. If another season is eventually announced, it's entirely possible that it could focus on someone no one is currently expecting. That's part of what has kept audiences so invested. Throughout his career, 50 Cent has consistently found ways to keep people guessing, whether through music, television, documentaries, social media, or his long history of public rivalries. That ability to generate conversation has become one of his biggest strengths. Every interview, every meme, and every Instagram post seems to spark another wave of speculation, ensuring that his name, and whatever project he may be working on next, remains part of the public conversation. With Shawn Combs The Reckoning earning 3 Emmy nominations and continuing to generate discussion, fans are naturally asking the next big question. If there really is another season, who will be at the center of it? Will it revisit the long-running feud with Rick Ross? Will it shift attention toward Jay-Z? Or will 50 Cent surprise everyone by taking the story in a completely different direction? For now, all anyone can do is wait. Until an official announcement is made, the rumors will continue, the theories will keep spreading, and every new social media post will be examined for hidden meaning. Whether any of those predictions prove accurate remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The conversation surrounding 50 Cent and his documentary isn't slowing down anytime soon.